We are live with our weekly country music live videos, and we're just going to get Seán Fahy, the winner of Glór Tíre, on the call. So let's see if we can get him on here now. Bear with us as we get this organised. So Seán, what our country music show. So we're getting him on. Seán, how are you getting
Mike,
on?
how are you? How are
All
things?
good, all good. It's always a tense couple of minutes there till we get organised and get you on the
I
call.
think we're on. We're sorted, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's, as I was saying there at the beginning, you're the winner of Glór Tíre and Teach Carr's premier country music show, probably our country music competition, one of Ireland's only country music competitions. So let's roll back to right at the beginning of that process. And why did you sign up for the show originally?
Well, I suppose I would have watched the show for years and I would have always watched it and watched the singers on it. And I suppose in the back of my mind that I would have liked to do something like that, but never actually took the leap of faith to do it. Then back in October, I got a call from David James. I was actually at school at the time. I got a call at lunchtime from David James to ask me would I be his contestants this year. And I kind of hemmed and hawed and kind of said, look, it's a great opportunity. I'm going to take it. But I always said if I did the likes of that show, I would take it with both arms and make sure to maximise my potential for after it. And definitely have. It's been brilliant. So thanks be to God. It's gone well so far.
And what was the moment like when your name was called and you won?
I was amazed. I mean, it's some buzz, even like wait on the result, even every night, just kind of, am I going to go through? Am I going to perform well? It's just, it's great adrenaline. And kind of when I wasn't even focused on the result on the night of the final, just kind of focused on doing the performances right and getting that right and doing everyone proud at home. And all people that were behind me at home has just been amazing. So when the name was called then as the winner, it was just the icing on the cake. It was amazing.
And have you felt a boost to your career already with that profile and that platform?
Oh, it has, absolutely. I mean, talent shows like that are just amazing for kind of keeping your drive on. You know, it's very easy to get down the drums if, you know, the gigs aren't coming in and that. But I suppose now the life of this opportunity has just been amazing. I mean, like now this summer ahead has been flat out. The phone hasn't stopped hopping. I'm still getting back to people from the show. So it's been brilliant. Thanks be to
And
God.
then where did your interest in music come from originally?
The interest in music, I suppose I would have always been kind of liked the idea of music, but never kind of, I suppose, had the guidance to do or to push it, I suppose, until I went into secondary school. There would be no one kind of in my close family that would be involved in music a lot, so I wouldn't have not known where to look. And then I suppose when I went to secondary school, I would have got involved in the likes of the musicals and the concerts and that kind of thing. And my teachers in school would have been very supportive of that and kind of always encouraged me to go on every stage I could and get my voice heard. And yeah, from that, just kind of developed a love for country music then, and you know, got in touch with all the likes of the singers around Ireland. They've been very supportive, and since then, it's just been a driving force since then. So it's amazing.
And you know, the industry in Ireland is quite small. Do you find that it's hard to break into it? You know, you've got so many established artists, there's only so many venues around the country, and so many people are doing so well. And while you're on this rise to fame, is it hard to kind of crack that ceiling that exists there?
It is and it isn't. I mean, there's two sides to it. I suppose there is that kind of side whereby it is a small enough scene and it is kind of hard to break into, especially to like myself coming from Mayo, where there wouldn't be a lot of dance halls or venues close by. So in order for me to go and see a band or to get up and sing with a band, it would be, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hour journey round trip. And I suppose the other side of it then is that because it is so small, there is a tight knit family there, and people do look out for each other. All the singers have been brilliant over the show. I've experienced that a lot more. But there is room for everyone at the end of the day, I suppose. Just kind of finding your opportunity and going for it.
Absolutely. And have any of those stars, you know, the bigger stars on the scene here in Ireland, have they reached out to you for any advice, or have you reached out to them to get any
I
advice?
have, yeah, of course. Yeah, I've kind of, I've all their head directors, I suppose, up to hit the show, trying to get a slot or two, you know, on their dates. But they've been amazing, you know, the likes of Stuart Moyles, Jerry Guthrie, Jimmy Buckley. They've all been very supportive, getting on board and helping me out throughout the process. And of course, David James has been amazing too. Without him, I wouldn't have got this opportunity in the first place. And I suppose, you know, for him to believe in me, to could have done well on the show was just a compliment in itself, I suppose, to start off with. And since that, I've just kind of tried to keep the plough on and suppose do him proud along with all the support at home.
Absolutely. And where did your inspiration to get involved in music come from? You know, I suppose more so to the country music genre.
Well, I suppose the country music, I kind of always liked the idea of the simplicity of it. Like, you know, there's no, as a man says, bullshit with it. You know, it's kind of three chords and the truth. You know, the storytelling and the meaning behind the songs. And just, I suppose, it would be kind of popular around the west of Ireland here and in Ireland. And I suppose then, as I got older, I would have kind of branched into the more American country music, which is kind of featured in a lot of pop music these days. Anyways, like Miley Cyrus is bringing that country flavour through to pop music. So like Luke Combs, Chris Stapleton crossing over that path into mainstream chart music, you know. So I suppose that was kind of the meaning behind the songs, and then I suppose just kind of the love for it, the sound of the actual music.
And, you know, you mentioned some of those big names that are kind of bringing it back into more mainstream. It used to be, you know, that country music was just for older people, or it was just from people from the country, and I'm from Ennis, so I can say people from the country. You know, that's gone now. You know, it is for everybody, and it is for all ages. So, you know, do you think that, you know, I suppose people looking down their nose that doesn't exist anymore?
I suppose it's kind of always going to be there, I suppose, whereby, you know, you'll have that kind of, I suppose, persona that country music is for older people. Like growing up in school, only one or two of us in the class that would have been listening to country music, the rest would be listening to, you know, the pop music. But I suppose artists in Ireland, the likes of Nathan Carter, Johnny Brady, Derek Ryan, have done amazing work just to kind of branch over that gap, to kind of make it more mainstream, make it more cool, as I say, more accessible to the younger people. So I think even lyrically, like the songs out there have been changing and more geared towards the younger audience, which is amazing.
And were you ever slagged in school for music?
I wasn't. I was able to take it.
And you're now yourself, so obviously your school experience must have been good if you decided to train and become a teacher yourself.
Yeah, I have. I'm teaching back in the school that I actually attended as a student as well. So I've been there for the last 3 years. It's amazing. I suppose being able to kind of, you know, have music as part of my day job as well is amazing. You know, I'm teaching Irish music. Secondary school, so even having that as well, like I'm kind of surrounded by music nearly night and day at this stage, so it's amazing.
Not exactly a music question, but this week the subject of Irish and the Leaving Cert came up, and there was a lovely debate on live the weekend. And what are your opinions on that?
Well, I suppose it's been an ongoing battle, I suppose, even as teachers and I suppose lovers of Irish. There's always going to be that bit of backlash. Is it should it be essential? I've always gone into beliefs, even as a younger teenager, that it's so important for us to have our language. We need our language. It's part of our culture. You know, there's nothing, if we went abroad, like there's something that we can hold on to and have as our own. You know, I suppose, and anyone asks you what nationality are you, you're going to say Irish. What language do you speak? We say English. You know, that's the one thing that I kind of would kind of like get in my whip, but just, you know, it's just something that I think is so important. And I suppose, yes, there is room for change in terms of the teaching, but like, where do you start to change? Like, where do you get the interest in the students? So I suppose me as a teacher, I've always tried to kind of make it as kind of engaging and as practical as possible, bring in the oral element as much as I can. And I suppose I've kind of, I don't know if I succeeded as such, but I suppose just kind of trying to wean people around the idea that Irish can be used outside the classroom. And, you know, I kind of showed that on even like the likes of Glór Tíre, that I was able to speak all my interests through Irish. So it was amazing.
And what about on your shows? Do you insert a bit of Gaeilge into your set list and your interactions with the audience?
I do indeed, yeah. I suppose that's something that I kind of have kind of focused on more recently now since Glór Tíre. It's just something that kind of made me stand out, I suppose, and the other singers just have a bit Irish. So I would kind of throw in about 4 or 5 Irish songs a night. So keep that ticking over as well.
Absolutely. And Joe Biden's going to be heading to Mayo tomorrow. Out and forced to see him, or what's the plan?
Indeed. Yeah, I'm going to head up to Ballina tomorrow to see. I've seen all the preparations now on social media. It looks amazing. So I'm delighted. It's great for Mayo.
Absolutely. And, you know, as your career progresses, what is on your bucket list for this year and maybe over the next 5 years?
Bucket list, I suppose the originals now is what I'm working on mainly since the show, kind of trying to get them finalised. I suppose it's kind of a whole different ballgame, releasing originals to covers. And I would have originals written in the last few years, just kind of taking the right ones for the right time and decide if they're good enough, I suppose, essentially as well. So that's kind of in the pipeline. There's a new album coming as well at the end of the year, so we're working towards that. And, you know, taking away at the gigs as well, trying to get the name out there as much as possible, taking every slot I can, every gig I can, and keeping the flag flying, I suppose, since off the back of the show.
And is it important to, I suppose, keep that flag flying, you know, the ship is rising at the moment, and to make sure that you're getting your success after on the back of the win on Glór Tíre?
Well, absolutely. That's what I said. I said if I ever did do it, there's no point kind of sitting back after the show and doing nothing and just taking that, even because of the likes of all the people that got behind me for votes, even like, you know, are so supportive about the show. Like I kind of still want to do them proud, and that's something, if I do set my head to something, I'll always kind of drive through and try and get the most out of it. And if I fall flat on my face from something, I'm going to fall flat on my face, but I'm going to give it a go anyways and knock down the doors.
And during this month's issue of RSVP Country, which I happen to have in my hand here, you're talking about, as well, about, you know, some of the support that you've gotten in Mayo from, you know, you'd mentioned Ron Stewart Moyles and your friend Chantel Padden. Do you have a small bit of a Mayo musical community at the moment? That seems to be on the rise too.
It is, yeah. I mean, Mayo, like as I said in a few interviews before, like I've always kind of seen the support from Mayo people, like even like the football, like we'll rally around Mayo, even though how many losses we've had in Croke Park, we're still going to be there, we'll still stand with them. But I suppose when it's behind you and you feel the support on your back, it's a completely different feeling. But all the singers have been amazing. Like Chantel would have been a great friend of mine growing up in secondary school, we were in the same class. And just I kind of suppose I've supported her throughout all of her experiences, and she supported me, so it's a lovely feeling. And then I suppose, yeah, the Mayo kind of flag does kind of hold strong to a lot of people, like Stuart Moyles and Jerry Guthrie now, and the likes of Alan Clark have been amazing. Like, the kind of Mayo seem to get behind their own, which is a lovely feeling.
And is there something in the water in your classroom that, both you and Chantel Patton have done quite well? She was on the Late Late Show special recently, and you're back in the school doing music again. What is the secret behind all of that?
Oh, we had much heat in the books anyways in school. I tell you that much, so that's where. But no, I suppose we kind of always have support each other throughout the whole experiences we've had over the years. And anything she's done, I've been there with her, and anything I've done, she's been there with me. So it's been brilliant.
And what is your favourite song to perform?
Where am I singing it?
It's up to you. Oh, look,
I suppose I'd have a lot of different songs that I'd like to sing for different reasons. But I suppose one song that kind of has stood to me even throughout the likes of all the competitions I've done, even growing up, one of the first songs I've ever done would have been Seven Spanish Angels by Willie Nelson and Ray Charles, and that would be a song that kind of means a lot to me, and a song that has done well for me over the years, and so it's probably that one, I suppose, Seven Spanish Angels.
And at the moment, what is the song you have on Spotify?
I'm like a little bit of Luke Combs, the new album. I have that on repeat a lot. Yeah, Luke Combs, Chris Stapleton, and yeah, more Irish than I suppose Johnny Brady, Derek Ryan,
yeah.
That'll be the main Spotify list. Depends on the time as well.
And Luke Combs is hitting Ireland this summer. Will you be going to the Three Arena to see him?
I am indeed. Yeah, I was actually at him last year as well in Three Arena, Country to Country, last March. So I'm going back again now this October. Looking forward to it.
And you always get inspiration for your own performances when you see big acts, big international acts like that?
Yeah, well, I suppose that's kind of the main reason I kind of listen to such a wide variety of artists on the country scene in Ireland and in America. I suppose I take a lot, of the songwriting and the performance from the likes of the Irish country artists, and then I suppose the vocal techniques and the stage management from the American artists, and I suppose kind of taking all them different flavors and mash them up, and there you have Seán Fahy.
And for anyone who does want to come and see you, what type of performer are you?
What type of performer? I suppose it is that bit of a crossover between the American country and Irish country scene, trying to balance that, because that is what I would listen to myself, and that's what I'd like to go and hear myself. I'd like to say I would be able to entertain a crowd for the 2 to 2.5 hours or whatever slot I'm doing, and trying to get my personality across in my performance as well. I think it's very important just kind of for the people to like you. I suppose it's a massive part of the Irish country scene for people to actually like you, to interact with people, and yeah, that's what you come to see me.
Yeah, and what has been the hardest of your career so far, do you think?
The hardest part, I suppose, the idea. Yeah, I suppose the whole from being from Mayo and like not being able to kind of access dance halls and access, I suppose, recording studios and opportunities as easily, I suppose, as other counties or other areas around the country. As well as that, I suppose COVID would have put a massive halt on things for me. I suppose that's just before I would have started kind of entering like competitions and kind of recording and kind of taking the step from, say, the local scene and like doing local gigs and to, I suppose, the national stage things. And then COVID came, and I kind of, I suppose, you do, as we all did, kind of lost kind of motivation and say, what's the point in doing this if ever it's closed? Where's it leading to if you're going to record music? And then I suppose on the back of that, it kind of worked well because you're kind of remotivated and you kind of get a new lease of life after COVID, and everyone kind of spurred each other on after that again. So it worked both ways, COVID, I suppose.
And then what has been the highlight?
It has to be Glór Tíre, I suppose, up to now. It has to be, yeah. I suppose that night, the winning and having half a Mayo up in Connemara with me, I suppose there wasn't a sinner left in it, but it was amazing. And just the roars of the crowd just before I went on and all the messages of support during that day, it was just overwhelming. It was amazing.
And on the final note, what would you say to anybody who's looking to sign up to Glór Tíre next year?
I would say definitely go for it. I suppose it does take a certain kind of person to, how would I say, kind of take it all in your stride. I suppose don't like overthink anything. Don't take any criticism, because there is a lot of critics out there that are going to say you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. Kind of go with what you like to do, and if you do that and you be yourself on stage and come across the way that you think people like you as a normal day to day, you'll do fine. And that's the advice I would have for anyone going on the likes of the shows like that.
And as I mentioned, then you are in this issue of RSVP Country,
Thank
which
you
is
very much. Yeah.
so if anyone wants to pick that up, absolutely, it's in all good news agents at the moment. And if you're interested in country music, rsvplive.ie/music for all our interviews, pictures, videos, and all the latest in what's going on. And you can also sign up to our brand new country music miss any news. So on that note, Seán, thanks so much for your time, and all the
Thank you very much, Mayo, for having me.
perfect.